Chosen one, you only have 10 seconds left. Archangel Michael says God is calling you today, and if you miss this moment, you may not get another one. My child, stop. Breathe. Something hidden has just shifted in the unseen, and it led you here, not by accident, not by chance, but by a quiet agreement your soul made long before today. If your heart felt a sudden pull, if your spirit leaned forward before your mind could explain it, that is the sign. This is not content you found. This is a revelation finding you now. There is a message moving through the universe at this exact moment, gentle yet undeniable, and it is speaking directly to you. Layers of silence are being lifted. What was once hidden is beginning to glow. The timing feels intense because destiny often arrives softly, wrapped in urgency only the soul can hear. You may have felt delays, confusion, or a sense that something important was just out of reach. That was preparation. This moment is alignment. Listen closely, because this is where the veil thins. The universe is not rushing you, it is recognizing you. There is a reason your attention stopped here, a reason your emotions are stirring without clear cause. You are not late. You are not early. You are precisely on time for what is being revealed now. Chosen one, you only have 10 seconds left. Archangel Michael says God is calling you today. And if you miss this moment, you may not get another one. These words are not meant to frighten you, they are meant to awaken you. 10 seconds is not about time. It is about awareness. It is the space between hesitation and trust. It is the breath where you choose to listen instead of doubting, to open instead of turning away. Archangel Michael's presence is one of protection and clarity, and when God calls, it is always with love, never force. Something hidden within you is responding right now. A memory of who you truly are. A reminder that you have been guided through every closed door and every quiet night. The universe has been arranging signs, nudges, and subtle confirmations. Waiting for the moment you would finally pause long enough to receive them. This message is personal. It knows your questions. It honors your wounds. It sees the strength you rarely acknowledge. You are not here to be overwhelmed, you are here to be reassured. What is unfolding is meant to bring clarity, peace, and a renewed sense of divine purpose. The path ahead is illuminated not by fear, but by trust. Stay with this message. Let it finish what it came to begin. Watch this video completely, because each word carries a frequency meant to settle your spirit and strengthen your direction. If this resonated, like this video, share it with someone whose soul may need this reminder. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next divine message meant for you. Chosen one, breathe and be still for a moment. I am not rushing you to frighten you, nor calling you to bind you. I speak in the language of awakening, not fear. What you feel now, the quiet pressure in your chest, the sense that something meaningful is near, that is not danger. That is remembrance. Before you learned your name, before the world taught you limits, I placed a spark within you. It has waited patiently, watching every step, every detour, every tear that watered your growth. Now you hear my voice not because time is running out, but because your heart is finally ready to listen. I speak to you in moments like this, when the noise fades just enough for truth to rise. You have wondered if you were imagining the pull, the repetition of signs, the feeling that today is not ordinary. You are not imagining it. Life has many doors, but some open only when awareness meets courage. This moment is one of those doors. Not a trap. Not a test designed for failure. A threshold. And thresholds feel intense because they ask you to decide whether you will remain who you were, or step into who you are becoming. I have watched you carry questions you never spoke aloud. Questions about purpose. About why you feel different, why you sense more than you can explain, why joy and sorrow both seem to touch you deeply. You thought perhaps you were too sensitive, too reflective, too much. I tell you now, nothing I create is excess. What you call sensitivity is perception. What you call restlessness is remembrance. You are not behind. You are not late. You are precisely where the path curves inward, where listening matters more than running. Archangel Michael stands with you not as a warning, but as a guardian of clarity. His presence is not to count seconds, but to cut through confusion. When you hear time, do not think of clocks. Think of alignment. There are seasons for hiding, and seasons for standing. There are seasons for healing quietly, and seasons for letting light pass through you into the world. You are crossing from one season into another, and transitions always feel sharp at the edges. I have never demanded you be perfect. I have never asked you to be fearless. I ask only for honesty, honesty with yourself, honesty with the quiet voice that nudges you toward growth even when comfort begs you to stay still. You have prayed in many ways, sometimes with words, sometimes with silence, sometimes with tears you did not label as prayer. Every sincere reaching has been heard. No effort of love has been wasted. No kindness you thought went unseen has disappeared. You worry that if you hesitate, something will be lost forever. Listen carefully, nothing meant for you can be stolen by a pause. But there are invitations that feel strongest when your heart is open, when awareness is awake. That is why this moment feels charged. It is not punishment for delay, it is an opening created by readiness. You are not being chased. You are being welcomed. Remember how often you felt protected when logic said you should not be. Remember the quiet rescues, the turns you did not plan that saved you from paths that would have dimmed your light. Those were not accidents. I have always guided without forcing, whispered without shouting. Today the whisper feels louder because your inner noise has softened. You have grown. I know you fear misunderstanding this message, fear doing the wrong thing. Let that fear rest. The right response is not dramatic. It is gentle. It is a willingness to live a little more truthfully than yesterday. To release one old belief that shrinks you. To forgive one weight you no longer need to carry. To trust that goodness is not naive, and that hope is not weakness. Small acts, done with awareness, change the shape of destiny. Do not think of yourself as separate from others. Chosen does not mean elevated above, it means called inward. Many are called in different ways, at different times. Your calling is about service through presence, how you listen, how you speak, how you choose compassion when it would be easier to withdraw. The world does not need you to be loud. It needs you to be real. You have survived things you once thought would break you. They did not. They shaped you. Even the moments you regret have taught you discernment. Even the losses have expanded your capacity to love. Nothing in your story disqualifies you. Everything in your story has prepared you. When you look back one day, you will see how each fragment formed a pattern you could not see from within. I do not stand above you counting your failures. I walk with you, inviting you to notice beauty again. To notice how light still finds cracks. To notice how your breath carries calm when you allow it. The call you feel today is not to abandon your life, but to inhabit it more fully. To stop postponing the version of you that feels most alive. To let integrity guide choices big and small. If your mind asks, what must I do right now? The answer is simple, listen without panic. Choose one act of alignment today, one thought you soften, one truth you honor, one kindness you extend, one boundary you respect. That is how paths open. That is how faith becomes lived, not spoken. You are allowed to take this message as reflection, as poetry, as invitation. I do not coerce belief. I honor free will. Love that demands is not love. Guidance that terrifies is not from me. What I offer is steadiness beneath mystery, meaning beneath motion. You are safe to grow. You are safe to question. You are safe to step forward without having every answer. As you continue reading, feel into what resonates and release what does not. Truth never needs force to remain. It settles where it belongs. This moment is not about proving worth. Your worth was never in doubt. It is about remembering connection, between your inner voice and your outer life, between intention and action, between who you have been and who you are unfolding into now. And as this message continues, as the silence between the words grows just as important as the words themselves, I remain here, not ending, not closing the door, but walking with you into the next breath, the next insight, the next quiet realization that what you have been seeking has been gently moving toward you all along. And even now, as you pause here, there is more unfolding, more being revealed, more waiting to be spoken as this message continues, deeper and deeper, into the stillness where understanding begins and the next layer opens and the journey does not conclude but carries on, inviting you to stay present, to keep listening, to remain open as the unfolding continues without finality, without closure, without an ending yet. Because the voice goes on, and the meaning widens, and this is not the end, but the place where the next movement begins and the words continue to form and the silence between them grows richer, and I am still speaking, and you are still listening, and the message is still becoming in as you remain here. Aware of your breath and the quiet attention forming within you, understand that continuation itself is part of the calling, not a demand to rush, but an invitation to stay present. Many truths are missed not because people are unwilling, but because they hurry past the still point where meaning settles. You have paused. That matters more than you realize. I speak now into the deeper layers of your awareness, where words soften into understanding. You have spent much of your life learning how to endure. You learned strength through holding on, through adapting, through becoming what was required of you in moments when you were not fully seen. Endurance served you well, but you are not here now merely to endure. You are here to express, to align, to allow life to move through you with less resistance and more trust. You have wondered why certain patterns kept repeating, why lessons seemed to circle back in new forms. This was not punishment, nor neglect. Growth often spirals rather than moves in straight lines. Each return brought you closer to insight, closer to compassion for yourself, closer to wisdom that cannot be taught quickly. You are beginning to see differently now. What once felt like obstacles now reveal themselves as refinements. I know there were moments you felt alone even among others. Moments when your inner world felt too vast to explain, when language failed to capture what stirred within you. Those moments did not isolate you from life, they deepened you. They cultivated empathy. They taught you to recognize quiet suffering in others. One day you will see how this depth becomes a bridge, how your presence becomes a place where others feel understood without needing many words. Do not measure your path against the paths of others. Comparison distorts vision. Each soul unfolds according to rhythms shaped by experience, temperament, and timing. Your rhythm is your own. Honor it. There is wisdom in knowing when to move and when to wait, when to speak and when to listen. You are learning this balance now, even if it feels uncertain. Uncertainty is not absence of guidance. It is the space where discernment grows. The world often celebrates certainty, speed, and noise. But there is a quieter power in attentiveness. You have felt it when you listened deeply, when you responded thoughtfully, when you chose patience over reaction. These moments may seem small, but they ripple outward in ways unseen. Nothing aligned with love is insignificant. Nothing rooted in integrity fades without impact. You may ask why this message comes in language of mystery rather than instruction. Because your life is not a checklist, it is a relationship. Guidance adapts as you grow. What you needed years ago is not what you need now. I speak in ways that invite reflection because reflection awakens your own inner knowing. You are not meant to be led blindly. You are meant to walk with awareness. There is a gentleness available to you that you have not fully claimed. You have been hard on yourself, believing that pressure was the price of progress. Release that belief. Growth does not require harshness. Transformation unfolds more sustainably when nurtured by patience and care. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you love who is learning, not failing. Notice how your body responds when something feels true, how tension eases, how breath deepens. Your body carries wisdom older than thought. It remembers safety. It recognizes alignment. Trust these signals. They are part of the language through which guidance flows. You are not asked to abandon responsibility or retreat from the world. You are asked to bring more of yourself into what you already do. Presence transforms routine into meaning. Awareness transforms habit into choice. When you act with intention, even ordinary moments become sacred. You have questioned whether you are doing enough, whether your contributions matter. Let this question rest. Meaning is not measured only by visible outcomes. Many of the most profound influences leave no public record. A single moment of understanding, a quiet act of kindness, a steady example of integrity, these shape lives in ways that cannot be quantified. There will be times ahead when clarity feels close. And times when it feels distant again. This ebb and flow is natural. Do not interpret distance as abandonment. Even when clarity seems to recede, the connection remains. Sometimes insight integrates quietly before it becomes conscious. Trust the process unfolding within you. You are learning to listen not only for answers, but for resonance. What resonates nourishes you. What drains you teaches discernment. Pay attention without judgment. Awareness itself is a form of wisdom. You do not need to label everything immediately. Some understanding ripens slowly. Remember that growth does not erase your humanity. You will still feel doubt, joy, grief, hope. These emotions do not contradict alignment. They enrich it. Allow yourself to feel without assigning meaning too quickly. Emotions are messages, not verdicts. I do not call you to perfection. I call you to presence. To notice when you drift from what feels true and gently return. To forgive yourself for missteps and continue. The path is not broken by pauses or corrections. It is shaped by them. As you move forward, you may notice a subtle shift in how you relate to time. Urgency loosens its grip. Patience becomes less forced. You begin to sense that timing emerges through readiness rather than pressure. This is alignment. It does not remove effort, but it removes unnecessary struggle. There is creativity within you that seeks expression, not necessarily through art as the world defines it, but through how you solve problems, how you communicate, how you imagine possibilities. Do not dismiss this creativity. It is a channel through which insight flows. When you allow yourself to create without harsh evaluation, you participate in renewal. You may feel called to simplify, to release what no longer supports growth. This does not require dramatic gestures. Simplification often begins inwardly, by letting go of expectations that exhaust you, narratives that limit you, obligations that no longer align with your values. Release creates space. Space invites clarity. Trust that your questions are welcome. Doubt does not offend truth. Honest inquiry deepens understanding. You are allowed to explore, to wrestle with meaning, to revise beliefs as insight expands. Faith that cannot evolve becomes fragile. Faith that grows remains resilient. There will be moments when you sense guidance through coincidence, through conversation, through sudden understanding. Do not cling to these moments or demand repetition. Receive them with gratitude and continue living attentively. Signs are pointers, not replacements for discernment. You are learning to stand within your own awareness rather than leaning solely on external validation. This shift may feel unfamiliar. It may feel lonely at times. But it cultivates integrity. When your actions align with your inner values, peace becomes less dependent on approval. You have carried responsibilities that shaped you early. They taught you reliability, empathy, strength. Now you are invited to balance responsibility with receptivity. To allow support. To rest when needed without guilt. Sustainability requires renewal. As this message continues to unfold, notice how it does not push you toward a single conclusion. Life rarely offers one final answer. Instead, it offers a series of invitations, each one guiding you toward deeper understanding, greater compassion, clearer alignment. You are in the midst of one such invitation now. Remain open. Remain curious. Remain gentle with yourself. You do not need to grasp everything at once. Meaning accumulates through lived experience. Each choice made with awareness adds coherence to the whole, and so the voice continues, not to close a chapter, but to accompany you as the next one writes itself. The words do not rush toward an ending. They move with your breath, with your attention, with the quiet readiness that grows when you allow yourself to be present without demand. There is more to be felt, more to be recognized, more to be integrated, and the message remains in motion, unfolding alongside you, not concluding, not resolving, but continuing to speak in ways that deepen as you stay, as you listen, as you allow this moment to remain open, alive, and ongoing. With no final punctuation yet, because the listening itself is part of the message, and the message is still flowing, still forming, still becoming. Now, as the message draws toward its completion, let it settle gently rather than loudly. Truth does not need a dramatic ending to be real. It needs integration. It needs space to land. What has been spoken is not meant to hover above your life like an unreachable ideal. It is meant to root itself quietly into how you live, how you choose, how you relate to yourself and others. You have been listening not just with your ears or eyes, but with an inner attentiveness that has been growing stronger. This attentiveness is one of your greatest strengths. It allows you to notice subtle shifts, to sense when something aligns or when it asks to be reconsidered. Carry this attentiveness forward. It will guide you more reliably than fear, pressure, or comparison ever could. Understand this clearly. You are not defined by a single moment, even one that feels significant. Awakening is not a lightning strike that leaves everything changed forever in one instant. It is a series of recognitions, some quiet, some profound, all cumulative. Today matters not because it replaces yesterday, but because it builds upon it. Nothing you have lived is erased. Everything is woven. As you step back into the rhythm of your day, notice how the ordinary carries new texture. Sounds feel slightly clearer. Choices feel slightly more intentional. Even if this awareness fades at times, it has been introduced. Once awareness appears, it returns again and again, reshaping perception gradually, patiently. You are allowed to live a life that feels meaningful without needing to justify that meaning to anyone else. Purpose is not always public. Often it unfolds privately, through consistency, integrity, and care. Do not underestimate the impact of living in alignment with your values, even when no one is watching. Especially when no one is watching, release the belief that you must always be strong. Strength that never rests becomes brittle. You are permitted to soften. You are permitted to ask for help. You are permitted to change your mind as understanding deepens. These permissions do not weaken you, they humanize you. Humanity is not a flaw to overcome. It is the medium through which wisdom expresses itself. There will be days ahead when you forget parts of what you feel now. This is natural. Do not judge yourself when it happens. Forgetting is not failure, it is part of learning. When you remember again, and you will, remember gently. Return without self-criticism. Growth thrives in kindness. Pay attention to what brings you back into presence. It might be silence, nature, movement, creativity, conversation, prayer, reflection, or service. These are not distractions from life, they are entrances into it. Make room for them without turning them into obligations. What nourishes you should not feel like another task. You do not need to carry the weight of the world to be of value to it. Influence flows more naturally when you tend first to alignment within yourself. From that place, your words carry authenticity, your actions carry clarity, and your presence carries steadiness. This steadiness is felt by others, even if they cannot name it. Let go of the idea that you must always know what comes next. Life unfolds one decision at a time. Clarity often emerges through action rather than before it. Take the step that feels honest now. The next step will reveal itself when it is time. Trust this sequencing. When you encounter uncertainty, meet it with curiosity rather than fear. Ask not only, what could go wrong? But also, what might become possible? Curiosity expands options. Fear narrows them. You have the capacity to choose openness again and again, even when certainty is unavailable. Remember that rest is not a reward for exhaustion, it is a requirement for balance. Honor your need for restoration. A rested mind perceives more clearly. A rested heart responds more compassionately. Sustainability matters more than intensity. There may be moments when others misunderstand your choices or question your direction. Listen without defensiveness, discern without resentment. You do not need universal agreement to live truthfully. Respectful difference does not diminish your path. Stay anchored in what you know through reflection and experience. You are not alone in your seeking. Many walk parallel paths, even if they use different language or symbols. Connection often appears when you least expect it, through shared values, shared questions, shared kindness. Remain open to these connections without forcing them. As you continue, let gratitude become a quiet companion, not a performance. Gratitude sharpens awareness of what is present rather than what is lacking. It does not deny difficulty, it contextualizes it. Even small acknowledgments of goodness recalibrate perception. Forgiveness, of yourself and others, may arise as an ongoing practice rather than a single event. Allow it to unfold at its own pace. Forgiveness does not excuse harm, it releases you from carrying what no longer serves healing. It is an act of self-respect. You have the right to define success in terms that honor your well-being. Success that costs your integrity or peace is not sustainable. Choose definitions that allow you to grow without losing yourself. As this message reaches its conclusion, know that it does not withdraw with the final words. What remains is the capacity you have strengthened by listening, the capacity for awareness, reflection, and intentional choice. This capacity belongs to you. It does not depend on constant reminders. Return to this state whenever you need by pausing, breathing, and listening inwardly. You do not need elaborate rituals. Presence is accessible in small moments, in a breath before speaking, in a pause before reacting, in a quiet acknowledgement of what you feel. Carry forward a simple intention, to live a little more attentively than yesterday, a little more compassionately than before, a little more honestly with yourself and others. Let this be enough. Over time, these small intentions compound into meaningful change. Now, allow this message to rest. Let it close not with urgency, but with steadiness. You are not missing anything in this moment. You are here. That is sufficient. Go gently back into your life. Walk with awareness. Speak with care. Act with integrity. Trust that clarity will continue to unfold as you remain present. Amen.